scholars in Islam. Uh, Scarf is not being mentioned in Quran. It's not about scarf. It's not about covering the chest. It's about covering the whole body. And the Quran give a exception that mazo Arab minimum, like for you just have to leave the default part of the body. I mean, talking about women, what I mean by the default part of the body is something you can't just do without opening, like hand and face. That's what the Quran is. And trying to just relate niqab with Arabic culture is kind of so that it doesn't go like it's kind of two parallel things. Islam is different, and Arabic has its own culture before Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And during the era of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not every Arabs are using niqab, and let me just so many of them are not using niqab. If we want to go by history, if I can say validly that none of them using niqab, just because there is one hadith of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam when Prophet was explaining the concept of niqab, there are some Sahaba like the female apostles. They ask Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "Can I cut out of my clothes so that I can use it as a niqab right now?" And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told them, "Okay, you can do." That shows that they are not doing it before. Even if there are some doing it before, there are some cautious that's okay. Like my issue they have said the other time, there are some cautious that when Islam comes, Islam like abolished some cautious, like okay, killing of females children or female child during the Arab era, the time of Jahiliyyah, all kind of stuff. But there are some things that's okay. Islam accepts some things. Why deny some things as well? For example, the use of hijab has been a culture of the olden days, right from day one. Even we can see from history or from biblical references, even the Bible, we can see something like that. Now that means it has been kind of culture and a tradition of the pious one right from the day one. And that's the principle right from the day one. You can see evidences from other scriptures, which shows that okay, these are the things that has become the norms and tradition of the olden days, and Islam admits everything that's okay. This you can read this and try to refine some things in part of the cultures. Like there are some things as well which Islam just go against totally. That's okay. This is not part of us. We don't have to do this. Don't have to do that. But we should not try to our life put look at something like there are some misconception that okay, people using hijab is Arab culture. It's not an Arab culture. It's the culture of Islam. Like there are some things that's okay. It has become a norms, and majority of people knows that okay. They think or they thought like okay, this kind of thing is pertaining to Islam. Even in Yoruba settings in Nigeria, there are some things like let me just use this as an example, like a burial arrangement. They used to do 8 days, 40 days. Now in Quran in Sharia Islam, there's not like 40 days and 8 days. Well, if you come to Yoruba now, if you ask a typical Muslim, that's okay, 8 days, that's normal burial rights of Muslims, which is not being in the normal Sharia culture is not there. But there are some things as well that Islam go against totally. But we shouldn't mix culture and Islam together. That's like my HOD have said the other time. Culture is different. Islam is a culture on its own, and Islam explain most of the cultures. There are some things that doesn't if the thing go against the Sharia of Islam, the Islamic culture won't accept it. But if it is in line with the Sharia of Islam, you are so free to do it.
Okay. Um, Sister Sura has a hand up.
Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam, sister.
Yeah, I just want to add a bit to the question about mixing up culture and the Islamic culture and our Yoruba culture or wherever country culture is. Like the brother said, the culture is one thing, and Islam has its own culture as well. And there's a lot of culture, our culture that Islam accommodates, and Islam does not go against some of our culture. However, there are some that are against the Islamic culture, which we need to be careful of. Coming back to the hijab and niqab thing, hijab, niqab, jazakallah for the brother that just commented. Hijab, niqab is Islamic culture. It's not about Arabic culture or Arab. Islamic culture. And majority of scholars, they debate that the women, the beauty of the woman, or even English thought, they say beauty is in the hand of the beholder, isn't it? So, and most of the scholars, they agree that if the woman is really beautiful, if she's really beautiful, that when she go out there, she can cause fitna, like she can cause other men to be thinking like, they can get lost just by seeing her face. Then for the sake of reducing fitna to the men out there, the women, the Muslim women, she used the niqab. When she's really like, if she's out there and 90% of people can say, no, this is a beauty. So that kind of women is advised to use niqab. And that is not religion, that's not, it's not country culture or Arab culture. That is just for religion purpose. Now, niqab, like I said, is not obligatory, but hijab is about covering the adornment all over our body, all over the Muslim woman body. It's not just put some, cover your head and chest and wear something tight or this or that. No, it has a code, a proper code. So that's just a little comment I'm going to add. And to conclude my talk is Islamic culture and our own country culture is two different things. So cares need to be taken when we are doing our actions. We need to always check, is this against Islamic culture? If it is against Islamic culture and Sharia, then we have to be careful and stay away. But if the Islamic Sharia say no to our culture, then we should go by the Islamic Sharia, because that is what is important for us, and that is what is more healthy for us and our deen. So that's just my little comment. Assalamu alaikum to the party.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Is it me or I'm struggling to hear? Is it Zoom or my network? Hello?
Hello?
Hiya.
Your network.
Hello?
We are with you.
Hello?
I think it's just your network.
Okay, all right. I know we've been saying so many things about what Islam says wrong with our culture, blah blah blah, things like that. How about some things that Islam actually allows, but our culture seems not to want it? Sister Fatima, are you there? I think you're frozen. Yeah,
I'm
she's
here.
frozen.
No, I'm here.
Okay, it's just frozen. The face is just staring at me.
You are also frozen now.
You saying he's having network problem?
Um, seeing as Brother Judges is frozen, and after listening to what everyone's saying, does anyone else have something like anything they want to say in regards to this topic?
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, the struggle is real. Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
You were trying to say something
Hello?
Islam that culture does not permit.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yeah.
Okay, this is better. So what I'm trying to say is that how about a situation whereby some things that the Sharia or Islam seems to allow, and culturally we seem not to want it. You know, in a way, we reluctantly shy away from it. You know, and these are the things that we need to be quite careful about. So when we are looking at the other side, we should also look at what Islam allows, what our culture seems to reluctantly frown against. For example, the marrying of your cousin. You know, I don't think any Yoruba man on this call or Yoruba woman or Yoruba parent will be so happy to say, you know what, this is your established cousin. And we say, you know what, you can marry that cousin. You know, and they'll say, no, it's not going to happen. I've never seen one. Maybe if anybody has seen one happening in Yoruba land, please feel free to call me out.
Salaam alaikum. Wait. When we speak of cousin, is it like the first cousin or the third cousin or extended cousins?
You are the one branding it extended or third or long distance cousin. You know, we have different types of English. Long distance. Your cousin is your cousin. Can you marry your cousin in Islam? I think yes, you can.
You can't marry your first cousin.
There is limits to it.
Samutiat has a hand up. Oh my God, something is wrong with my network today.
I can marry a cousin in Islam, and I have a cousin that got married to my cousin. So I believe it can happen in Yoruba land. But the problem was because my grandma is no more, and her grandma is no more as well. Because my first cousin, they are both first cousins anyway. So their parents are both cousins. But because they are the grandparents, which is my great grandmother, great grandfather, they are no more. So now my dad can say, oh, we are cousins, but it does not matter. But they didn't know they are cousins until they got home because they met on social media. So when they got home and they were like, oh, you're from this family. And we got to understand that the parents are both cousins. But at that point, everyone has to allow because the world has gone beyond just looking at the cultural part of things. I think people now look at it religiously. Okay, does Islam allow this? If Islam allows it, then why not? You both can go ahead. And today they are happily married with 2 kids. So it can happen.
But that's different. The parents are cousins. The parents are not sisters or brothers and sisters.
I didn't hear her talk. I think that was
like me,
it seems like an ending.
They're both my cousins and they both got married. So one is first cousin, the other one is a distant cousin.
Thank you.
They're both related.
This happened at Ofavi.
Well done now. Leave my town.
Hello.
That happened.
I'm asking where it happened now.
Yes, it's happened in Offa.
Okay. Of Agbo is in that.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa barakatuh.
Now, so concerning what the Amir just said, of course, there are a lot of things that are permissible in Islam that the culture will go against. And what we should be wary of is that what is the basis of our culture? And whenever Islam permits something, on what basis? Is it for our benefit? Is it for the benefit of the human race, or is it for whose benefit? And of course, the truth is that everything that is permissible by Allah in Islam is to benefit the human being. So when we look at the root of our culture, we will find out that I want to speak for Africa generally. Our culture are derived from our belief, and this belief is based on the gods that we worship. It's based on the gods that we worship, and most of the norms and cultural things that we do, they emanate from there. So you see that whenever the culture goes against Islamic tenets, if we evaluate it very well, you will see that the culture is defective in that aspect. And that is why Islam permits certain aspects of the culture that is not defective of your belief and your worship. That is, it does not against the oneness of God. It does not against you testifying that Almighty Allah is the one that created everyone and has power all over all things. You see the issue of marrying a cousin or not. If you look at it, I'll give example. My son name Oni. My father does not know who is Oni. Maybe my grandfather knows the person that bears Oni. So it's a name of our great grandfather, and everybody in the family has been bearing this surname. So there are a lot of people that I am entitled to marry that bear this same name, and because they bear this name, if you present them at home, they will say, ọmọ ilé kan náà nìyí, ọmọ bàbá rẹ̀, onígbà bàbá yín, ọba kan ni wọ́n. You see, that thing, is it what benefit does it make to us? It doesn't. But Islam permits it because one of the reasons why Islam permits such thing is that if there is anything within that family, it will circulate. For instance, if there is a known illness that they know in the family, it will circulate in that family, and it will not go out when you pick from outside. The outside people are fond of practicing this, even if they do overdo sometimes. But the point is, we will evaluate what the culture stands for to gain and what the Islamic law stand to gain for us. And I've been wanting to go back to the Islamic issue of hijab. Like the brother said, hijab is not a culture. But if you look at it very well, hijab is also a culture. There are people, before it was legislated that women should wear hijab, Arab people were wearing hijab. There are people like the Jews were wearing hijab. But the mode in which everyone wears his hijab then is different from what the Sharia legislates. And that is where we Muslims get it wrong. Because you hear people, even the people who are very knowledgeable, the big sheikh, they will translate hijab to be a scarf. They will translate it to be ibono. They can translate it to whatever, because it is just an Arabic language, which if you take it in the linguistic context, it can mean varieties of things. But when you talk of what is the Sharia position on hijab, you will see that a lot of people are not fulfilling that condition that you are supposed to meet before you say you are wearing a hijab. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah.
Walaikum salam. I'm not sure who referred to. Oh, I think it was Brother Jaja that referred to cousins getting married. But if we look at the Nigerian culture, especially the Yoruba culture, the whole purpose of the traditional engagement or introduction that is in place in the Yoruba culture is so that the two people getting married are not of the same blood. So that is one way that obviously we do see that part of the Islamic law or the Sharia law as something that we need to try and avoid. But yeah, that's just my contribution in regards to that as well. Does anyone else have any kind of input? I see Sister Matia, your hands up, and then we'll go to Sister Taufika as well after.
Sorry, that was the earlier one.
Okay. Sister Taufika?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, sister.
This is a very beautiful topic because it actually does depend on which era you're talking about. So I like to think, I may be wrong, astaghfirullah. I think the earlier generations, they definitely mix culture with religion, definitely. And you see that in the way that they do the things that they do. But I think, as, people gain more knowledge and they more, they gain more Islamic knowledge, then they know what the right things are and what the wrong things were to do. I think earlier, the previous the seniors, right? The seniors I'm talking about are mums and grandmothers and grandfathers and, uncles and the such. So they obviously had the Quran translated to them. Some of them didn't get the chance to sort of understand the language and then understanding the language and being able to translate it and then apply to their daily life. Those are two different things. So when it comes to religion, it's something that you physically have to study on its own. And after studying and understanding what you're studying, you need to practice that. So the earlier generations, they just basically had that translated to them by like afars and sheikhs here and there. And, they did the best they can, of course, within their means. And may Allah grant them khair. But there were some things I feel that were misinterpreted because obviously the level of knowledge then is what they, it is what it was, so to say. So, for example, the things that, the role of female in the society, some people like to say that, women, they do this, they do that, and this is the amount of stuff that they do and whatever else that needs to be done. And I guess when you go to a nikah, let's say, for example, in Nigeria, I'm giving Nigeria as an example because that's the only one I can. But I'm sure it happens in other cultures. They would give you like a whole list of the things that the woman should do, but then they just leave the men out. And so leaving the men out is basically saying, look, bruv, you can do what you want. This is nothing to do with you. Just let's tell the lady what she's got to do and she gets on with it. But you do whatever, no problem. And I think that kind of mentality, it can make some men feel a bit untouchable, if that makes any sense. And then when you go to like the sheikhs or the alpha to go and complain about, the way the husband or let's say the man is behaving, and they just say, sister, be a sabr. Sister, be a sabr, be patient. And every single thing is for you to be patient, And they really do not tend to understand that the woman doesn't shoulder all the problems and all the issues, and that the male has a lot of role to play as well. For example, what Brother Jay just said about men cooking in the house, female cooking in the house. So that is one of them. The cleaning is one of them. I mean, we didn't know that before, that women are not supposed to do this. Like, it's not like an Islamic thing. If you do it, you do it. But, you do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if you don't do it, it's not like it's not like a mandatory thing for you to do in religion, But in culture, yes, it is, because, who else will do it? You can't see your husband cooking in the kitchen in Nigeria because they will say, oh, she's put voodoo on him, So these are the little things that I think, has been mixed up. And I think also things like men showing emotion in Nigerian culture is seen as being weak. Well, certain Nigerian cultures, not all of them, is seen as being weak. Whereas I think it's important. Well, in Islam, it doesn't say you can't. And there are also other things like, things like a woman asking a man out. And, I think it's just a cultural thing. Islamically, you can do so. If you see a brother you like, you can approach, their parents or whoever is in charge of them, or, not you, but you as your grown up, or, what I'm trying to say, your wali, to get in touch with their wali or their parents or whoever's in charge of them, and to talk things out and see whether an arrangement can come out of that. But if you were to do that in Nigeria, I don't know about now, but that would be frowned upon. Like, she's promiscuous. Like, why would she do that? Like, that's a bit what else, So I think those are the little things. And, when you put them together, it does paint a very different picture. And, somebody else from the outside, not understanding Islam, looking at that, they may think, oh, that's just how Muslims are. So let me give another example. I was speaking to somebody and I said, oh, how is the arrangement with your sister going? And then it said, oh, it's fine. It's just the normal gowns, no force. And I'm like, oh, you guys do things differently, don't you? It's like, oh, well, yeah, because it's an Asian culture. Generally, people mix tradition with religion, and that's why things are complicated. Nikah, for example, it's not really complicated. You just pay the mar, and once you've done that, you just, you do all the necessary things that you need to do to complete, the nikah, which is mandatory. But I think certain ceremonies, some people or culture, they go over the board with the ceremony, and then they overburden the family, the groom family, or the bride's family, or even the whole congregation as a whole. Because I know that some cultures, they ask you must put something down towards the wedding. Look, if you can't afford a big wedding, then you do what you can. But then again, if you didn't do that, then they're going to be like, oh, you just gave her away. She was just like a gift, and people don't really understand. I think those are the little things that I think that, has been slowly kind of diluted into religion, and people were calling them religion because they didn't know better. But I think now, I would say in 2021, people have made deliberate and intentional attempts to seek knowledge and to seek the right knowledge, and they are practicing it. And that's a beautiful thing to see, separating culture from religion. Sorry, I just went on one there.
Jazakallah khairan, sister. Thank you. You mentioned something as mixing religion and culture makes everything a lot harder than it needs to be. I'm not sure if I got the wording exactly as you did, but when I first started the research, I came across a picture and it says mixing religion with the culture is like mixing water and poison together, but with a substance that's just as dangerous as, like, you end up with a mixture that's dangerous as opposed to both of them separate. I think the analogy was a bit too, but it's essentially the same thing. Something that's pure on its own cannot be mixed with something that's as complicated as culture or poison, in essence. So as we're looking at the time, we need to wrap things up. So I want to say thank you to everyone that contributed. May Allah continue to increase your knowledge in everything that you do. And I'll pass over to Brother Jaja as well. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Jaja, are you there?
Walaikum. I think Kabir still has his hand up. Maybe
Is he?
he wants to say something for.
Oh, Brother Kabir, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Yeah, just to chip in on what Sister Taufika said about it's because of lack of knowledge that makes people to mix up things, Islam and culture. And she did mention that this is in the olden days, and now that people are getting informed. And I like to say that even now that people are getting informed, some people also find it difficult to accept in the entirety that this is what Islam say. There are a lot of things in the Sharia that we still deny out of our personal desire or still our cultural background. So people getting informed and people not willing to do exactly as it's things have been stipulated is also another aspect of it that make us to mix culture with Islam. So just like I said in the beginning, it depends on how much information you have about the deen and how much you are ready to take the bull by the horn. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. To go on to the chat, and then we'll go to the last hand that was written up by Brother Tarib, I think. Sister Surara said, Jazakallah for the discussion. Best way not to mix culture and religion is to find out about the Sunnah of the Prophet from reliable sources. Jazakallah for that. So he's put his hand down. So I think that's it with the questions. Or does Brother Tahir still have something to say?
What I want to say before is what they should have said. We just have to learn about Islam, and that's the best way to differentiate between culture and religion. And to what brother should said the other time, I didn't say Islam is not a culture. I refer to a culture like it has been hijab has been a culture of Arab and not only Arab. The olden days, the older prophets. I said you can see evidence of it in the other scriptures. That's what I said. That's the correction I want to correct. You understand?
Okay, Jazakallah for that, brother. So with everyone's questions and discussion points mentioned, thank you again to absolutely everyone who took part, and I'll let Brother Jaja close up this meeting.
Thank you very much for the contribution by every one of us today. Just the quick thing that I want to pass for everyone is to understand few things that we have. Next week is going to be a very busy one for us all. We're having the online family retreat, which we normally have during the Easter break. And this one is starting from Friday, the 2nd of April, and it will go up until Sunday, the 4th of April. And on those given days, we have set of events that has been packed for us to benefit from. And among those events include recitation of Surah Al-Kahf on Friday. And also on that day, we also have question and answer section with the missionaries. So if you have any question that you want to ask, you can bring it down there as well. And at the end of the day on Friday, the singles will be meeting. So we'll have singles night. So if you know you're single and you would like to just meet people, it's just you want to get to know people, come over. It doesn't hurt, to be honest. Just come in. Let's have a bit of interaction with one another. So inshallah, please let us try to come in on Friday. The start time is 8:15. And the other part also is those who are doing the upcyclate. The upcyclate, I need you to send me your name and what you're making. If you're making any item, please send us your name and what you're making, and we can get you registered for the upcyclate. Without you registering, we might not be able to put your name in it. So you cannot come in on Sunday and say, I've made this. Unfortunately, we might not entertain that. So if you know that you're making anything, please reach out to us and we can add your name to the list, inshallah. Also, for couples, for the youth couples or any couples, please, we have a section for us on the 3rd of April, Saturday night. So couples night, please. I would like to see as many couples as possible from the youth wing. Please let us try and attend, inshallah. Especially, I'm expecting Sister. Let me check if she's here. Yeah, she's here. Sister Mariam Sadiq. I'm looking forward to seeing her and her husband, inshallah. I know she.
Brother JJ, I'm single, please. I'm single and searching.
You cannot be saying this kind of thing. Why are you searching?
Please stop spoiling my market. I'm single and searching. Thank you.
Go for me.
I'm joining the single program, Brother JJ. So, Assalamu alaikum.
Can you go for me? So, inshallah, so the couples night, Sister Maria, I'm looking forward for that. And also, please let us also try to do the work for Nasfat. It's 10,000 per step, 10,000 steps per day. Sorry, 10,000 steps per day. Work for Nasfat. Let us try to join, and may Allah make it easy for us all. Thank you, everyone. It has been good to have you tonight. And next week we're having something about Ramadan. We will give you detail during the week. Something about Ramadan next week, inshallah. We're inviting a special lecturer for that, inshallah. Let us try to be present and to attend well on time, inshallah. HOD, can we have dua so that we can go on, please?
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Allahumma.
Allahumma
Inni a'udhu bika
inni a'udhuka
min al-barasi
min al-barasi
wal jununi
wal jununi
wal juzami wa min sayyil asqami
wa min sayyil asqami.
Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-barasi wal jununi wal juzami wa min sayyil asqami Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-barasi wal jununi wal juzami wa min sayyil asqami Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.
Thank you, everyone. Inshallah, we'll see you guys next week, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, inshallah. There are quite a lot of programs for the family retreat. Please try to attend them as well, inshallah. Thank you, and we'll see you next week. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.